Hello guys, my name is Sergey, I'm a freediving instructor trainer, and today I want to talk with you guys about a little trick which helps me and my students to do a longer dynamic by fins without pushing ourselves too much. But before I continue, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and don't forget to click the like button because this video is going to be interesting, I guarantee you. Okay, a little trick. So first of all, a little history. When I was doing my instructor course, the requirements for the instructor course for dynamic by fins was 100 meters. And I was training with my buddy, with another candidate, and during our training she was doing much better in dynamic by fins compared to me. Let's say we were swimming constantly like 70, 75, 80 meters, doing lapses, and she was obviously better. Like for me, like 80 meters was really hard, and she was usually like just swim, let's say 80 meters, come up with a smile, like, oh, good. And I was thinking, okay, when we're gonna do these requirements, it's gonna be pretty easy for her and pretty difficult for me. And I was a little bit jealous, I can admit that. So then we have this day when we need to pass these requirements, and I was first and she was after me. So I did these requirements. It was pretty hard, but it was doable. I even done a little bit more than 10, like 105 or whatever. And then it was her turn. She done her relaxation breathing, and then she started her swimming, and then she come up after, let's say, maybe 80 meters. So she come up after 80 meters, doesn't look like really tired or hypoxic, just like come up after 80, be saying, oh, like, it's really difficult now. Okay, so she had a really long rest, recover, we done something else, and then she tried to do it again, and now she came up after, let's say, 60 meters. She came up after 60 meters. I was surprised, like, why she came up. Again, she had a long rest, and then on her third attempt, she came up after, let's say, like 30 meters or 40 meters. And the explanation was, when I start swimming and my contraction starts a little bit early, I knew that it's gonna be really difficult. This is why I decided to come up. And I was thinking, wow, she made her decision to come up based on something in the future. So let's say in this particular moment you feel more or less okay, then you have a first contractions, and then you start thinking, oh, like in 40 meters I'm gonna feel that bad, so now I need to come up. And it was like kind of strange for me, but she passed this test eventually. Okay, then when I continue my training, and for whatever reason I fall in love with dynamic by fins, and then when I try to do 120 meters, I remember I was standing like in a pool preparing for my dive, and my thought was like, am I gonna make it? Like, I never try 120. Am I gonna make it, or I'm gonna have a blackout? And then my thoughts was about uncertainty, how it ends up, right? So I was nervous because I was thinking, is it gonna be a blackout or no? How I'm gonna feel? Probably I'm gonna feel bad, etc., etc. And then I analyzed both of these situations, and then I was thinking, why my action in the present moment should be predicted on my assumption about the future. So I assume that, let's say, 120 meters is going to be difficult, and this is why, let's say, I'm nervous now, but this doesn't make sense for me. Another thing I saw a lot of times from my students, that if they come up really early many times in a row, it's getting harder and harder to do a successful attempts. And this is what I call winner or loser mentality. What is a loser mentality? The loser mentality, if you lose doing something few times, let's say you try to do something and then you're losing, and then you try to do it again, you're losing, you try to do it again, you're losing, you try to do it again, you're losing, then sometimes it can be really demotivating for you to continue. And then I saw it. I saw that people tried, let's say they're planning to do, I don't know, like 100 meters, and they give up at 60. Next time they give up at 50, they give up at 50 again, give up at 60, and then they don't even want to try to do 100. Opposite, what is a winning mentality? It is whenever you do any attempt, you're winning. So you do your dynamic, let's say, and then you're a winner. You do it and you're a winner. And compare it, like you can compare it to the boxing. In the boxing, when the boxing star is rising, usually the promoters give them like easy fights, not like really easy, because the athlete himself gonna understand that this is a like bullshit fights, but kind of like if this is the level of the boxer, then they give him the fighter just slightly below his level, and then he win this fight and he feeling like a winner, and then he do again another fight, and again he's a winner, and then he's winner, and this is what winner's mentality. So how I apply both of this idea to the dynamic by fins, to my own training. First, I decide to have a minimum goal and maximum goal. Let's say, for example, my next plan was to do, let's say, 130 meters. And again, I'm still uncertain, is it going to be successful dive or not? So, and I don't want to be a loser. I don't want to come up after 50 meters. I don't want to lose. So what I start to do, I start having the minimum goal. And the minimum goal is the distance which I already did many times. So for example, in this case, it was 110 meters. So in my head, I am preparing, like I'm standing in a pool, and I am preparing to do 110 meters. I know for the fact that I'm gonna do it. I did it already 5-6 times like before. I know that my body is 100% capable to do it. Like, doesn't matter when my contraction starts early, or my contraction starts later, or I feel pump in my legs, or my turn was not really good, or my kicking was not really good. Doesn't matter. 110 meters, I'm gonna do it no matter what. And then only if I reach, or when I reach 110 meters, then I will decide if I want to continue or not. So let's say I'm swimming, I'm passing 110 meters, and if the dive was nice, then okay, I'm gonna continue and let's see how far I can go. But if, let's say, 110 meters was not the best, maybe my yesterday sleeping was not good, maybe something else, so then I feel absolutely free to come up at 110 meters, and I feel myself as a winner, because again, my minimum goal was 110 meters. I win this goal, so I win this distance. Everything beyond this distance is a benefit, is a bonus. So okay, I win this game, but without the bonus. So this is how I start thinking. Again, this is the next time when I try to do 100 meters, 140 meters, same. So my plan to do minimum 120 meters, and I know that I'm perfectly capable to do it. Like, there is a guarantee that I'm gonna do it. Like, no chance of blackout. Like, no chance of blackout for me for this distance. And then if I'm gonna be able to do more than 120 meters, this is just a bonus. So this is what I was practicing for a while, and then because I was thinking, okay, this is a pretty successful for me, so let's try to apply it for my students, and it also works for majority of my students, not for everyone, for the majority. Especially when we're talking about the Master Freediver course. Master Freediver course assume that you need to swim 70 meters. So minimum distance, minimum dynamic is 70 meters. And then again, like, I start to see that quite a lot, like a lot of time, like students like thinking about this distance as a hard distance, and then they give up too early. Let's say, for example, like I see they're standing before their attempt and they get nervous, and then they get up at 40 meters. Even before, like yesterday, we've done multiple times 50 meters. Now they give up at 40 meters. And we start to applying this principle as well, like winner losing mentality. and we was discussing what is the distance which he or she feel that he's gonna do it no matter what. So for example, someone who is planning to do 70 meters should be absolutely confident that he's gonna do, let's say, more than 50 meters, maybe even 60, right? Let's say 60, let's say we did it many times before. Let's say a few weeks before that, we from time to time we repeat 60 meters. So in his mind, like when the freediver is standing before his attempt, I want that he has a number 60 meters. So then he doesn't need to be nervous because he did it many times already. So there is no surprises. 60 meters for him is going to be doable. Next one, if he start the dive and he feel that the dive is going not like right, it's not a big deal because again he's not trying to do anything crazy. It's just like dive which he already done many times before. And only when you reach 60 meters, and in our case it is a 3 pool because we have a 20 meters, we do like 20, 40, 60, and only when he reaches 60, now freediver is going to decide whether he want to continue or not. So guys, this was a little mental trick which hopefully gonna help you to do a bigger distance in your dynamics when the pool is gonna be open again. I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was helpful, again, don't forget to click the like button, and I will see you next time.